Hello and welcome to Health Homeopathy and me. I'm Raquel, and today I'm going to talk to you about the third pillar of homeopathy, which is the law of the minimum dose. I've already covered the first two pillars, the law of similars and the direction of cure, in a couple of other videos. If you haven't seen those yet, be sure to check them out. So the law of the minimum dose means that we want to take the fewest number of doses in order to effect a cure. We don't want to give the body more than it actually needs. This means that we don't want to dose on any sort of preordained timetable. We don't want to give a remedy every 4 hours just because that's what it says on the bottle. And I know what you're thinking. Raquel, all of the remedies that I've ever bought have a timetable on the bottle. And this is because all remedies, homeopathic remedies, unlike herbs and essential oils, are regulated by the FDA, and they have to follow very specific FDA regulations that are the same for all drugs. Legally, homeopathic remedies are classified as drugs, just like your over-the-counter Tylenol. And because of this, the FDA doesn't have enough scope in their regulations to account for a remedy where one person in one situation would need to take it every 5 minutes, and another person in another situation might take it once a day or less. And it's just not within the scope of their guidelines. And so in order to fit in with all of their guidelines, they have to include a timetable. They also have to include a very brief description of what the remedy is used for, which is usually a couple of words on the bottle. And that is also pretty useless in homeopathy because our remedies cover so much. But FDA regulations say it has to be that way, and so that's the way it is on the bottle. One of the reasons we want to avoid taking remedies on a timetable instead of based on our symptoms is because we don't want to prove the remedy. Approving is how we get all of the symptoms that fill up the essays in the Materia Medica when they are done officially. This Materia Medica holds about 195 remedies, and it's quite large, and so you can imagine how much detail goes into each remedy. An official proving is done on a group of healthy volunteers. Usually they're homeopathic students, and they are given a remedy as many times as it takes until they start to experience symptoms. And the remedy is taken blind. They don't know what it is. And every person involved keeps very careful notes and records, and they're overseen by people who are also keeping careful notes and records. And at the end, everything is compiled into an essay and worked through, and they figure out what symptoms are common across the board that this remedy causes, and it ends up in our Materia Medica as a remedy that now homeopaths can go and match symptoms to. But when you're sick, you don't want to prove a remedy because that would mean that you are causing yourself extra symptoms, and that's nothing we need when we're sick. The good news is that provings are not damaging in the long term. If you were to prove a remedy, you would actually be fine. You just stop taking the remedy and the symptoms will stop too. So if you aren't going to take the remedy based on a preordained timetable, how do you know when to take your next dose? There are 4 guidelines that will help you know what to do. The first one is, of course, the most ideal situation. You take your remedy and you immediately start to feel better. In that case, you won't take another dose unless you start to feel worse again. If you feel your symptoms starting to return, you take another dose. If you don't feel your symptoms starting to return, you don't need another dose. That one was enough for your body. The second scenario is you take your remedy and suddenly you have a worsening of symptoms. You have a big coughing spell, if that was what you took your remedy for, or you have a sudden bout of vomiting or anything like that, where your symptoms escalate momentarily and then you begin to feel better. It's a really great sign that the body is able to use the remedy to complete the direction of cure and to move things out. Remember, better out than in. The next situation would be you take your remedy and you feel better for a little while, and then new symptoms appear. Well, you try one more dose of that same remedy you already picked. If it doesn't seem to help, then you'll need to reassess those new symptoms and find another remedy that fits those symptoms. And then finally, if you took your remedy and you feel no change at all, that means that you try one more dose, try a wet dose, and I will explain what that is in a future video. And then if there's still no change, you will need to reassess your symptoms again and find another remedy that is going to be a better match. You don't want to keep taking a remedy that isn't working because you don't want to cause a proving. We don't want to add symptoms to what we're already feeling. All right, and then how long do you wait? How long do you wait to see if a remedy is working or not? Well, unfortunately, I can't give you a set answer for that. The answer is it depends on the situation. It depends on how intense it is or how long you've been dealing with this situation already. It's gonna, in an intense situation, you might take the remedy every minute or so. In another situation, like say a cold that's kind of been dragging on, you might only take the remedy once and then wait a day or half a day to see if it has any effect. It's one of those things you kind of have to go with your gut based on each individual situation. Remember, homeopathy is very individualized to the person, their illness, and the situation that they are in. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific than that. An example would be maybe a teething baby that is very distressed and distraught and just crying all the time and suddenly seems like they're in a lot of pain. You could try a remedy every 5 minutes or even every minute if they're really distressed and you're really distressed. It can be helpful to do that. I already gave the example of with a cold, but or aches or pains or a sprain, you might wait a little bit longer unless it was immediate. If you have just sprained your ankle, you can take a dose as often as you need. And if you feel relief and then the pain starts to come back, you take another dose. All right, let's see. Now you need some signs that the remedy is working. Well, this kind of goes back to the video on direction of cure, but I'll give you a little refresher here. Anytime there is a worsening of symptoms followed quickly by amelioration, good sign it's working. If somebody falls asleep right after taking a remedy, really good sign that it's working because your body does its best healing while it's sleeping. Let's see, what else? Relief of symptoms, of course. That's a great sign that the remedy is doing its job. And then anytime the remedy or the symptoms are moving in the direction of cure, like a rash moving from the trunk to the arms or the legs and out the fingers, off the body, that's also a good sign. Alrighty then. So, if you have been watching my videos so far, you have learned about the law of similars, the direction of cure, and the law of the minimum dose. My next video is going to cover a little bit of the history of homeopathy, who discovered it, and what is a remedy anyway? How are they made? So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below for me, and if you would like to see more videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button followed by the alert button so you won't miss a thing. And if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for future videos, be sure to let me know in the comments. I really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.